Hello my beautiful people, what's going on? My name is Kira. If you've just met me today, welcome to my channel. I make a lot of gay videos and I'm also an actor. Oh, I didn't snap. Did you know I can't snap with my right hand? I can snap with my left hand, but I can't snap with my right hand. Isn't that weird? That's not normal. If you guys don't know, I am in a new Netflix show called Grand Army. It's on Netflix, like I already said, and I play the character Grace. She's a recurring character. I'm in 5 episodes. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit today because a lot of people are asking questions about it. Let's chat. Grand Army. I asked you guys all the Instagrams to send in your questions, and if you want to participate in the next video or just follow what I'm doing on a regular basis, you can follow me on Instagram. This video is so graciously sponsored by Audible, the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks. Right now you only have to pay $4.95 a month for the first 6 months of signing up for Audible Plus, which is basically just a fancy name for the Audible membership. $4.95 a month for the first 6 months. And then after that, you have to pay the regular $7.95 a month. With the old Audible membership, you could only download 3 titles a month, but for this Audible membership, you can actually download a limitless amount of audiobooks and titles. Download the free Audible app on your mobile device and you can listen anywhere offline. Here are 3 main reasons why I listen to audiobooks instead of reading physical books. 1, I can use my time wisely and be productive while I'm commuting to school or work or wherever I'm going. This way I can multitask and make full use out of my time rather than just sitting and doing nothing. 2, sometimes as a female or a feminine presenting person, we have to be aware of our surroundings when we're on transit. So reading a physical book on transit can kind of be dangerous. I feel pretty safe listening to Audible on transit because I can listen to my audiobook and I don't have to be like focusing on a page right in front of me. 3, I live in a studio apartment condo thing and it is very, very tiny and I don't have a lot of storage space. So if I were to have physical books of all of the audiobooks I've downloaded, it would basically take up my entire apartment. The audiobook I'm listening to right now is called The Happiness Advantage by Shawn Achor. Oh my god, you guys. The Happiness Advantage is so good for especially the skeptics because Shawn Achor studied at Harvard and he actually studied positive psychology. In the audiobook, he's constantly referencing actual studies that have been done that prove why having a positive mindset improves your overall life and health. An Audible membership has actually never been cheaper than it is right now. Signing up is super easy. All you gotta do is go to audible.com/Kira or text Kira to 500-500. AUDIBLE.com/KEARA. Or you can text KEARA to 500-500. Thank you again, Audible, so much for this collaboration. Y'all are awesome. Now onto the Q&A about Grand Army. I dropped my phone. It didn't break. Question number 1. Where did you shoot, US or Canada? Grand Army was actually shot both in Canada and the US, but the majority of it was shot in Toronto, Canada, my hometown. Only the outdoor scenes where they were showing the landscape of New York City, they shot in actual New York City, but none of my particular scenes showed the landscape of New York, so I couldn't go to New York. But maybe if there's a season 2. With that being said, what was your favorite location to shoot at in Toronto? Most of it was done in a studio, but we did occasionally get to shoot on location. There was this really cool old historic high school we shot at. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the name because we might shoot there again. That location was really cool because it was like one of the oldest schools in Toronto or something, and like the architecture was really pretty at the front of the high school. I think it was haunted too, I'm not sure, but I got some like spooky vibes. Next question, and I got this one a lot, was how did you guys film during COVID safely? Well, we did not shoot during COVID. We actually shot in 2019 before the pandemic. The film industry is still like happening right now, at least in Toronto, but we have a lot of like COVID guidelines that we have to follow. Here's another question I got a lot was, would you have preferred your character to be explicitly queer? You know, I mean, I do prefer playing queer characters because that's most authentic to me, and I want to be that representation on screen for young queer people. No one said that Grace was explicitly straight. That was never like in the script or anything, so Grace might be bi, she might be pan, who knows? All I know is that she really likes a George. George. It doesn't bother me, like I don't say no to straight characters, I would just prefer to play queer characters as I am queer. How did you get casted? Okay, so originally, I did a self-tape for Joey, for the role of Joey, a few months before I even got the audition for Grace. And then I guess they liked me in my self-tape, but I wasn't fit for Joey. So they called me back into the room. It was either April or May of 2019. And at first I wasn't gonna do it because I was like, this looks really difficult because the audition scene was the condom scene, the very first scene of the show. I was feeling uncomfortable about it. I was like, how am I supposed to portray this in an audition? Like I was just it was very unlike anything else I've ever auditioned for. Like it was not easy. I was kind of like getting insecure, like, can I do this? I did it. And I just like didn't think anything of it and I just went on with my day. I even saw my friend in the audition room auditioning for something else, and so we like rode on the subway back home together and we were just chatting, and it kind of took my mind off the audition that just happened. And then I got a call from my agents like a couple weeks to a month later, and I was like actually in the parking lot with Lauren because she had drove up to see me in her car from Ohio. It was actually like the moment we were about to say goodbye to each other and I got the call. And so like it was really cool because Lauren was there and we were like jumping up and down in the parking lot together, like screaming, and it was super cool. Here's another one. Can condoms actually get stuck in your, and then they put an emoji of a cat. Condoms apparently can actually get stuck in your vag. I have never experienced that myself, but I know that it happens. It can happen. It can fall off during sex, and then you have to like really reach up there to pull it out. And that's why I think it was such a cool scene to be put in a TV show, because these are the things that happen and no one talks about, especially with teenagers. Like teenagers would be so ashamed if this happened to them and like wouldn't want to tell anyone. And I just think it's so relatable to put that in a Netflix show, to be like, yo, this shit happens, man. I feel like that's the whole like theme of Grand Army, is like,
this shit actually happens.
It just like sheds light on so many important issues that need to be discussed and talked about. Next question. What character inspired you the most? Personally, I just loved Dom's character so much. She was just such a strong lead. I just love how motivated she was at such a young age. Like so many teenagers aren't that motivated, and I just loved the strength and like motivation and courage that Dom had to pursue her dreams and to get, you know, out of her parents' house. And the way that she was brought up, she wasn't letting it define how her future would be. And that's something I can relate to as well. Like I didn't grow up in a very wealthy family at all. We were like low to middle class, if anything. I wanted to make it a goal of mine to be able to support myself on my own at a young age and to have more financial stability than my family did growing up. I love Dom's character. She was my favorite. I love you, Oddly Jean, if you're watching this. Probably not, but if you're watching this, I love you, Oddly. A lot of people were saying, could you relate to your character? And did you like your character, Grace? Oh, and someone said, did you like playing her versus did you like her? As an actor, you're forced to find ways to relate to your character and find ways to justify their actions in what they're doing, and you need to get in the mindset of why they would do certain things and why they would think certain things, even if you can't actually justify it in your own life. You have to find relation to your character. So I could relate to Grace in the way that in high school and still now sometimes, the ego can take control and you can be very insecure and just think you're not good enough. And so the ego can make you think that you have to act a certain way or do certain things or like prove yourself to others that you're good enough, as well as anxiety. Like someone else said like, oh, I noticed Grace has a lot of anxiety. How can you relate to Grace? I'm like, oh girl, you know, I've had generalized anxiety disorder since I was like 7 years old. So I can definitely relate to Grace in the way that she panics about everything. Like Dom says the thing about like, did you try plan B? You know, that condom was stuck up you and like the sperm could have been released in you, and like that's totally something I would get freaked out about. I overanalyze situations and always think of the worst case scenario, and so that's definitely something Grace does. But in the terms of just being super ignorant to everyone, not believing Joey when she says that she got raped, I can't, like, it's very hard for me as Kira to wrap my head around it. And even actually as when I was playing Grace, I kind of had to like put a wall up. I had to dissociate when I was playing Grace in those moments where when she said racial slurs, when she said that like Joey was asking for it and like she didn't believe Joey. And that was when I kind of had to dissociate from Kira and put myself in Grace's shoes. It was difficult for sure. I really hope that if there's a season 2, Grace's character can be developed more. A lot of people said too that like Grace didn't have a lot of screen time and like Grace's character wasn't developed all the way. I agree with that, but I think they were focusing on the main characters in season 1. But if we have a season 2, I would love to explore Grace's backstory and where she comes from, why she thinks the things she thinks, and like get into her family life a little bit. That about sums up the questions. If you want me to do another Grand Army Q&A, or if you want me to talk more about Grand Army, I would love to. Just let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and thank you again Audible for partnering up with me. Bye!